Fresh from the showcase at SwissWatchExpo, I'm Michael. We've got the incredible Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore 26420 Ti coming up. If you can't tell, I'm really excited about this watch. This is the 26420 Ti from Audemars Piguet. And to me, this one really has so many refinements in it, and it's so exciting compared to the previous models of the Royal Oak Offshore. If you're a fan of the previous model, absolutely nothing wrong with that. They've just made some changes that I think do improve the model. A little bit here and there goes a long way. So I wanted to cover those with you. This was a brand new release for 2021. And finally, you see the 369 configuration of the chronograph. The previous Royal Oak Offshores, they had a 6912 configuration on the subdials. And that was indicative that they used a modular movement with a Dubois-Debras chronograph movement. Essentially, that what it means is that it's a chronograph module that's stacked on top of a regular watch movement. So the movement drives the chronograph module, but on this one, they've come out with a fully integrated chronograph movement. It is a vertical clutch column wheel chronograph. So that means you get no hesitation or jerking when you activate the chronograph. Start and stop with the top pusher, reset with the bottom, but it's also a flyback. So not only are you able to read the speed on the chapter ring at the edge of the dial, read your average speed of whatever it is that you're timing. But you can also leave the chronograph going all the time if you want, so that you have that look of it running. But you can also, just like a traditional chronograph, you can stop the time, record that time, and then reset with the bottom pusher. But if you're just on the fly, your race car is passing the checkered area, and you want to restart, you can just press the bottom one, and it resets everything to 0 and keeps timing without missing a beat. Now, one thing I'll say about the chronograph on this one, the movement just feels buttery smooth. When you wind it, it feels so good. It takes a lot of winds to get it from 0 power reserve to full power reserve. It's got a 70-hour power reserve in this movement. And I think it took me about 65 turns to get it going. But once it's going, you can leave that chronograph running all the time if you like. You can leave it reset. One of the things I like from the dial perspective is that they have tipped the chronograph hand in red, and they've got the minute and hour counters also in red. So that way it's real easy visually just to keep up with which part is the timekeeping and which part is the chronograph. The running seconds for the watch is the one at 6 o'clock that's in black. And of course it's fully loomed, super luminova all over the place, beautiful look, and it really sets off the dial on this one. It's the Mega Tapisserie dial. So the blocks on these hobnails are much bigger than on the Grand Tapisserie or the other ones that they've made. But true to AP style and function, they've got lots of different finishes. Even in the dial, there are different striations on the dial, and as it turns in the light, you're able to see how it's sort of, there's a play of light that's really what AP is all about. It's really what their design DNA is all about. And so when you look at this, it almost looks like the tops of the waffle pattern are brushed and the sides are high polished, but it's really just the finish that's applied. Really beautiful setup on that dial. Now that blue dial, of course, is unique to this titanium model. Even though the watch is large, it's a 43 millimeter case. Don't let that sway you. Here, I'll slide it on my wrist so you can see it. And I don't have especially big wrists, but you can see it works just fine. The lug to lug is not that big, so you can wear it even on a smaller wrist. At 43, this is actually a little bit more compact lug to lug than the previous 42. So again, that's one of those refinements that I think was just a home run for AP on this model. Another nice touch, they've taken the blue of the dial, and the gasket that runs between the bezel and the middle case is the same color. Just picks that up real nicely, and we have also the blue rubber strap. This one comes with the black rubber strap as well. I'll show you the quick change mechanism in a moment, but you can just swap them back and forth real easily. If they come out with a steel bracelet, you'd be able to add that on as well. The materials though on this, again, it's grade 5 titanium, so it's really light, really durable. Even though it's a big watch, it's 14.4 millimeters thick, it doesn't necessarily wear like that. So like if you had the 18 karat rose gold, that baby reminds you all the time that you're wearing a big honking watch because of the weight, but this one does not. The titanium's really light. Of course, it's titanium. It has ceramic pushers that are brushed and polished, and the sapphire crystal, all pretty lightweight materials, so it's not something that's really going to weigh you down like an anchor. One of the refinements that they made on the case that I absolutely love, and this is a very subtle change that you might not even be able to see very well, but I'm going to hold it sideways like this so you can see it. The crystal is slightly domed, and so it comes down a little bit on the edges. And then the bezel itself, instead of being completely flat like the previous models, it actually is tapered down a little bit on the edges. So it gives it just a little bit sleeker feel and look. It makes the watch a little bit more easy to wear, no matter what your wrist size. And I just think overall, it's a tiny change, but it makes a big difference when you look at the watch. The polished bevels on the lugs are bigger than they were before. And so you have this play of light again, where you have the edge of the bezel is high polish, the bezel itself is brushed, and of course you have those 8 screws that are the signature for the Royal Oak series. Those are high polish. As we turn it over and we look at the back side of it here, you can see the back bezel, if you will, that goes around the sapphire crystal. That is also much thinner than the previous version. I'll hold it kind of sideways like this so you can see it. It's much thinner than the previous one, and it's also tapered down so that it's thinner on the edges than it is in the middle. And this makes the watch sit closer to the wrist. It's just every refinement that you can imagine on this has made it just better and better. The movement itself, of course, like I mentioned, it's an integrated chronograph. One of the things that does for you is that the dial is a little bit flatter than the previous generations. And you can see this in the date wheel. The date is a lot more aligned with the plane of it to the height of the dial versus the previous one where it was almost sunk in. And that's because of the integrated flattish sort of style of the movement. Now, I said that I would show you how this quick set release mechanism works, or on the strap quick release. You have the 2 stations here. You just push each one and then pull the strap off. It is really easy to do. And then your next one, when you're ready to slide it on, you line it right up with those 2. And I'm having a hard time with it here because I can't see. My bifocals aren't working. So it just clicks in that easily. The buckle also has a quick release, so you can quickly change it from one strap to another. So you can see this comes with the black strap as well as the blue. The strap itself is designed a little differently than the previous version. Of course, it still has the lines that accentuate the design of the watch, but they're more curved. They have more of a taper to them than they did before. Even the buckle's been redesigned. It's a titanium buckle, but it has this high polish edge to it. A lot more visually interesting than the previous version. So all around, I just couldn't recommend this watch more highly. I think this is probably my favorite version of the Royal Oak Offshore that they've ever come out with. Again, we've got it on SwissWatchExpo.com. You can just type in on the search up top where it says search 2000 plus watches. Type in Royal Oak Offshore and you'll see all of them that we have in stock. But give us a call. We're happy to discuss it. We're happy to give you a FaceTime tour of our store and our service center and show you individual watches as well. Give us a ring.